Hello, hello. Welcome to Real Frank Rant. In this episode, I'm going to take a look at the mess of the Cleveland Browns. It's quite a debacle there. They still have Baker Mayfield. They went and traded for Deshaun Watson. I'm going to break it all down, talk about it, get into the nitty-gritty of this deal, and why I think this whole thing could possibly blow up in the Browns' face, and I feel so bad for the Browns. All that stuff is coming up next.
Real Frank.
All right, it's been one crazy NFL offseason this year. It's been amazing, right? Denver makes a big trade to get Russell Wilson. Tom Brady's retired, then he's not retired, and then he's retired, and then he's not retired. We have a quarterback-hungry NFL league desperate to find the next big superstar quarterback. And this offseason has just been insane with all the changes going on. And there's still a bunch of time left with the draft coming up, too. Some additional moves. The Panthers are still desperate for a quarterback. You got Carson Wentz that went to the Washington Redskins. Indy had enough of him. I mean, the league is so desperate to find the next superstar. And, of course, this offseason, we want to talk about the craziness of the Cleveland Browns. And that's what I like to discuss about in this episode of Real Frank Rants. The Cleveland Browns are one of the most craziest franchises ever. I mean, they've had a history of losing and some awful bad luck. They had a team taken away, and then they move them to Baltimore, and the team that they moved to Baltimore ends up being awesome, and they win a Super Bowl. It was spectacular. They had Ray Lewis and things, so they didn't have a team. They get a team, they put it all together, and then they struggled all through the years of losing. You felt bad for Cleveland. You felt bad for the dog pound. You felt bad for everybody because they were such great, loyal fans. But what the fuck are the Cleveland Browns doing this offseason? Our good friend Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is a pretty decent quarterback. I mean, he's probably one of the best that Cleveland's ever had that they've drafted. That is the most craziest part of this thing. They finally get the quarterback they're looking for, and they're still not happy. Now, I think Baker's done more than an adequate job for Cleveland, but for some reason, the Cleveland Brown brass thinks he's a piece of shit. So let's take a look at Baker. Baker was drafted in 2018. Prior to 2018, let's take a look at all the quarterbacks that Cleveland had. So all the way from 1999, you can see they had the Tim Couch era. He was supposed to be something special. That didn't work out. Kelly Holcomb, Jeff Garcia, Trent Dilfer, Charlie Fry, Derek Anderson. A lot of these guys didn't last long in the league at all. Colt McCoy, he's still playing, but he's a backup. Brian Hoyer, Josh McCown, Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser, and then you got Baker. Finally, Baker in 2018. They took him with the number 1 pick. Now look what the records of the Cleveland Browns were prior to Baker being drafted. They were 7-9, all right, but 3-13, 1-15, and 0-16. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe Budweiser had locked up all the Bud Lights or Budweisers in the city of Cleveland, and they weren't going to unlock them until they got a victory, if I'm not mistaken. And who got them that victory? That very first victory was this guy, Baker. Remember that? He came in. Tyrod Taylor got hurt. He came in, finished the game, and he got the Bud Lights for the city. Guess the city doesn't like Bud Lights anymore. Last season probably wasn't his best season. Let's say that for sure, all right? But he got injured early in the season. So he finally admitted a couple weeks ago he messed up his left shoulder pretty badly. He tore his labrum completely, fully front, and like basically 90% of the back. That was in week 2. Week 2, he destroyed his shoulder. Week 2. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he played all the way up to the second to the last week or maybe the third of last week, with a tore left shoulder. Now, they're supposed to pride themselves on being Iron Men in the NFL, and that's exactly what he was doing, but it hurt the team possibly. He played injured, but that wasn't enough for the Cleveland Browns. He dislocated his shoulder again very badly in a different angle, and he ended up like breaking part of the bone that goes into your shoulder socket. I mean, that is some serious dedication about playing injured. But that wasn't good enough. The Browns went out and made a ridiculous trade for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson. There was actually several teams that were interested in this trade. Deshaun Watson was, I believe, wanted by the Atlanta Falcons. The Carolina Panthers were in it. I believe Indy was also into it at some certain extent here, which is insane, right? Yes, he's good, and yes, he is great, but we forget what was given up for him. To make the trade, Cleveland had to give up a 2022 first rounder, a 2022 fourth rounder, another first rounder in 23, a third rounder in 23, a first rounder in 24, and then a fourth rounder in 24, all to get Deshaun Watson. And that's fucked up, man. That's your whole entire draft capital, your future, all given away for a guy. Now, is he a good quarterback? Absolutely. But the man hasn't played for almost 2 years now. He didn't play last season. And the crazy thing that happened last season, even though he didn't play, the Houston Texans still paid his salary while he's being investigated for all these sexual misconduct allegations against masseuse that he reached out to on Instagram. Not even professionals. Reached out to some weird Instagram type of people to do massages. He gave all this up. The contract details of what's even more fucking crazy. All right? They're giving him a deal that's worth $230 million. Now, let's keep in mind, Baker Mayfield's still on the roster, getting some surgery work, but he's still there. Very good quarterback. But yet, they did this deal, and they're giving him $230 million fully guaranteed. His salary, base salary in 23, will be $46 million. $46 million. $46 million. Oh, in 2024 and 2025 and 2026, $46 million. What the fuck are they doing? That's crazy. Crazy. What's crazy about it is he still has 22 civil lawsuits going on with these women. 22 civil lawsuits against Watson in April of 2021. They're still out there. All right? The two grand juries in Texas declined to indict Watson on criminal charges related to allegations of sexual assault and misconduct. All right, so he got out of that. But he has 22 civil lawsuits still outstanding. And the Cleveland Browns went ahead and gave him this massive contract. He hasn't even been punished by the NFL yet. The NFL is doing their investigation. If you're a superstar player, they go on these special investigations. You haven't heard anything from the NFL in over 2 years about this case. How long does it take to investigate a case? You have 22 women, it's still there, and yet we have not heard anything from the NFL regarding this case. Again, because he's a superstar. If this was not a superstar, this would be a whole different thing. This would have been wrapped up very quickly and neatly, very, very quickly, and this person probably be out of the league. But since it's a superstar, special treatment. So again, 22 civil lawsuits are still out there. The NFL has not even punished them, but the Cleveland Browns gave them this size of a contract, $230 million. And let's not forget, they gave away 3 first rounders. 3 first rounders, $230 million, 22 civil lawsuits still out there. Fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. What the fuck are Cleveland doing? What the hell are these NFL teams doing? And I can't believe all these other teams wanted him. Houston had been throwing a party when they were able to get rid of him. You know, at some point, Houston was going to eventually cut him, especially if the NFL finally realized what their penalty was. He was never going to play for the Houston Texans again. It's ridiculous. To make matters worse for this guy, Baker, he gets honored over the weekend with a statue at Oklahoma, but this statue looks nothing like Baker Mayfield. The poor guy. Look at this thing. It looks nothing like him. I don't know how he can stand there and say, wow, thank you for the statue. It does not even fucking look like me. I mean, his year couldn't get worse, right? What I'm disappointed too with this whole Cleveland thing is those commercials for that insurance company, Allstate or whatever it is. He locked himself in the stadium. Those were some funny commercials. He's got a new home now. He's going to have to get kicked out of that stadium, find a new house with his wife. He's going to have to give back the key, get locked out the gate all the time. But the poor guy, look at this statue Oklahoma made for him. Looks nothing like him. Look at the face. Look at the face. It does not look like him at all. Not even remotely close does it look like him. It's ridiculous. Who did they make that of? It's not Baker. Not Baker at all. That is insane. The poor guy. Someone put this tweet out here. I thought it was hysterical. Is it Baker Mayfield or the T-1000 from Terminator? That's pretty funny, right? Because it does kind of look like the Terminator, right? Doesn't look like Baker. Kind of looks like the Terminator. Maybe that's what it is. Baker Terminator. I don't know, but that's pretty crazy. But you know what, Cleveland? Sorry, the Cleveland Browns fans, but your team deserves to suck. The leadership of the Cleveland Browns are the worst in the NFL. They blow it. The ownership, the leadership, the president, GM, you all are fucking it up. And you have truly some of the best fans in the world. And you invest your entire future on a guy. You give him your future and this money, this ridiculous amount of money, to a guy who hasn't even been penalized by the NFL yet and still has 22 lawsuits against him from these masseuses. The Houston Texans knew what they were doing. They fleeced the fuck out of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm not even a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm actually a Denver Broncos fan. My good friend John Elway, I love the Denver Broncos. So, as an unbiased Cleveland Browns person watching from a distance, as an NFL fan and a Denver Bronco fan, it is very, very sad for me to see this because I know how loyal. I have some friends that are Cleveland Browns fans. And just to see the whole thing be thrown away because of some talent. And people don't even remember Deshaun Watson blew both his ACLs. He blew an ACL in college, and he blew an ACL 2 years ago in the opposite leg. So not only has he have an injury history, you're giving him $230 million guaranteed, and you gave him all these draft picks to the Texans. $230 million and all these draft picks to the Texans. I'm sorry to the Cleveland Browns fans, but your team is a dumpster fire. A big fucking dumpster fire. Your ownership, your leadership that are running this team are fucking clowns. Dumpster fire. Dumpster fire. That's what they are. The Cleveland Browns are a dumpster fire. big old dumpster fire. I feel bad for you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm wishing you for the best, but this is not going to end well for you. And I apologize from every other fan in sports that has to have their heart broken by some shitty-ass leadership. Until next time, thanks for watching.